All
Right.
right, so this is gonna be a double feature of sorts, right? So this is kind of like GXK Volume 2, if you will, right? Because yeah, in addition to talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which we'll close things off, we have to finally talk about Godzilla Minus One, and because we are so late to the party, yeah, it really makes no sense to stay too long on this, right? But yeah, through the grace of God, we finally got this thing digitally, a few days ago, at the time of us recording this, right? And for me, I checked it out on the same day that I saw Kingdom, right? So, anyway, we kick things off with Godzilla Minus One, right? So yes, we heard a lot of great things about this leading up to the end of 2023. It made it a lot of people's best of, best of year list and whatnot. I was like, when are we gonna get this thing? And it was like, okay, clearly never. All right, okay, no problem. And I talked about this in, my Oscar talk back in February, I believe it was, right? Where, it's like, oh, because it's Japanese language with English subtitles, you telling me that people down in Trinidad are not gonna sit down and watch this? And I made the mention of when Ip Man came out back in 2010, I believe it was in Mandarin.
Yeah.
And it had English subtitles and nobody cared. We read, we understood what's going on, we had fun. So you're telling me people not gonna sit down and watch this? You know what I mean? But it was so ironic. It was so funny me seeing this too, because around that same time, before the Oscars even came out, we got the first trailer for Godzilla X Kong. So tell me, American, kaiju movies make it, but Japanese ones don't. Anyway, right? So moving on. Godzilla Minus One, finally get to see it. And I was genuinely surprised that it won Best Visual Effects at the Academy Awards, right? So that was one thing that I was focusing on while I was watching this, right? If you don't mind, I'll just do just a quick run through of what it is, and then Ricardo, you'll tell me what you thought about it, right? And then I'll
Yeah.
follow, right? So yeah, pretty much what this is, much to my surprise, it's a remake actually of sorts of
Right.
the first one, of the original
Right. Yeah. Gojira.
1954 Godzilla, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
totally
Well, it's
surprised me.
okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of plays with that. Like it's
Huh.
there's a reason why it's called minus one, because it's a kind even I think it's kind of even a prequel to that in a sense, like narrative wise.
I was thinking that too, but here's the
Right.
thing. I only saw the 54 Godzilla. And by the way, this show is meant to, it's in celebration of the 70th
Right.
anniversary
So it's
of
meant
that
to. I
film,
know
right?
it's meant to invoke the original Gojira. I get that.
Yeah.
Right. But
But
uh, yeah.
for
Go ahead.
the life of me, because I only saw that show like twice in my life, I I do not remember if that show was set in the 40s, like after World War II, or if it was set in 1954. I can't answer that question, but anyway. Yeah, so, because of that, yeah, technically it is a prequel, or, it in a way it's a soft reboot, but it's also a prequel, but it's also a remake at the same time, right? And when I get to my review, I will talk about why this works in terms of the character of Godzilla, and why he has been so why he has stood the test of time, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much this is set right at the end of World War II, right? We follow the character of Koichi, who is a kamikaze pilot. We learn just right out the gate that he more or less ducked his assignment. He can avoid it because just for various reasons. But the most obvious one means like, I don't want to kill myself. Like I don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to.
You don't
I
believe
don't
in the
want.
culture, the honor culture bullshit.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I'm not about killing myself for the sake of my country, bro. It's not like that, right? But early on, people, well, a person in particular, kind of looking on and they're like, "Look at you, you coward," and all that kind of stuff, right? At the same time, and that same army base, it's on this island. That's when Gojira attacks, and boy, this is going back to old school asshole Godzilla, boy, where it's
Fair
just
enough.
like, I am big, I don't give a fuck, I stepping on people, I train people away, I destroying shit because fuck you, that's why. That is Gojira in this, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
he showed
Godzilla
up.
was wild in this trip.
Yeah, boy,
He was
he just
wild.
did not give a shit, boy, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, again, going back to the first one, right? So yeah, he pretty much destroyed the base, and Koichi survives. He returns home. He finds out that his family's pretty much wiped out. He actually ends up meeting this young woman who adopts a child because the parents of that child was killed. So yeah, they have like a little family dynamic thing going on there, right? And it's pretty much the two adults kind of rebuilding their lives, right? But he, of course, Koichi is still haunted by, just, well, of course, with World War II, of course, but then, of course, with that attack by Gojira. So yeah, surprise, surprise, Gojira attack again in a really amazing, but still like
This was
wow,
hard.
like jaw-dropping
This
moment,
was
though,
a
just
real hard sequence, I think.
emotionally, though. Like, oh my god, it was just so tense, right? And yeah, through some circumstances, we boy decide here's what, like, we like all right, so similar to the old film, to the 1954 film, a plan is hatched to take down Gojira, right? And yeah, he kind of pushes himself up. He's like, yo, I want to be a part of this too. And that's where we get the really amazing third act, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Ricardo, your thoughts on Godzilla Minus One?
So yeah, I don't like this movie as much as other people seem to, but still real damn good. Right? Like it just really, really holds itself together. Like it just kind of a masterpiece in its own right. But I couldn't get into it as much as other people. I think people I think just kind of overhype it for me, to be honest. Like that, I think that's what really kind of happened. To be fair, I think
Okay.
that's what happened. But yeah, I just absolutely love this movie. It does make the case against Godzilla really well. Like, yeah, enough of this bullshit. Godzilla's a fucking problem, Judd. The total menace. You gotta deal with him. He's a problem. Deal with this as it is. But yeah, it really, really comes together, and it does the human element. It's like, yeah, you care about these people, right? They're not just empty vessels for Godzilla to step on. Like, that last Godzilla movie where they just totally trample Rio. This one is like, yeah, the human element, they're selling the plan, they're making it work, and you invested. And yeah, this was hard. Because, to be fair, I watched this out a long, long time ago. So I kind of forget the details, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah, go ahead.
So speaking of Godzilla X Kong, right? It's kind of unfortunate though that people will kind of look at that show, the Godzilla films, and say, oh, they pale in comparison to Minus One because Minus One is the greatest, and everything
Right,
else
right, right,
is in
right.
comparison, right? What I love about this pussy, and I guess for me is because I saw this once the hype died down,
Right.
is that, and this is just in general, the beauty of the character of Godzilla
Yeah.
is that you could have what many iterations of that character, just as long as the context in which he is in makes sense, right? So in other words, you can have this is like the remnants of World War II type Gojira, which we got in the 54 film. And in this film here, you could have eventually this, creature can become a hero, right? Like in
Right.
the 60s Toho films, 60s and 70s Toho films, right? You could have him be this mutated lizard, like in the 98 film with Matthew Broderick, that nobody cares
Well,
about anymore, right?
we could ignore that one, but well,
Right.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have they were like ancient creatures that
Right.
come from this sorry, not dimension, but that's pretty much hidden. What is not hidden earth is,
The Hollow Earth, yeah, the
yeah,
hidden
hollow
world.
earth thing, and they just
Yeah,
kind
that
of show
bullshit.
back
Yeah.
up because of drama, right? So you could, in other words, so yes, you could have your own. Or if to get a little deeper, you could have the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. You could have that
Right, right,
right
right,
now
right.
with the theme
Yeah,
song and all that kind of shit, and
yeah, yeah,
Godzilla
with
and all that kind of
Godzuki.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So you could have your own favorite Godzilla, right? But what I love about this character or this scene this here is that it all like connects to the character itself, right? So depending on what context he is put in, he kind of stands tall as what he is, right? So I think that it is unfair that, you will look at this show here and, which is about World War II, and then compare this to something that happening in like
Oh,
what,
like,
the
yeah,
near
look,
future.
I'm
Like,
not trying to. Yeah, I don't think you should keep Godzilla or anything like that. Like, I
right.
get that. I
Yeah.
get the aspect of it, but for me personally, that's just my thing. Like,
No.
Godzilla
I,
works.
I, I'm not knocking you down for it. I just saying
Right,
like a lot of people like when
right, right,
Godzilla
right,
X Kong came out, they were saying, but it's not as good as
right.
Minus One. It's like, come on, man. It's different things, but it's the
It's
same
different,
character, right?
right?
It's just the context. That's what matters, right? But that
Yeah.
to me is a testament of just how influential this character is, right? Because like because yes, I saw the 54 film. Well, I saw it after the fact, right? Well, I should say it's thanks to the Criterion Collection because yeah, that was the first Godzilla film that they put out, and then they were so dread to say, here's what, let me just take the Toho films of the 60s and 70s and put that in that box set. I want that shit. I'm not a big Godzilla fan, but I want that just so I could brag and
Yeah.
boast to people, right? But whatever. But we went from World War II icon now to destroy all monsters, Gojira, right? That's the point again, that right? But it's
Right.
still the same character, it's just the different context, right? And I love that about the character. That what makes it so fascinating, and that's what makes him pretty much timeless. So yeah,
Yep.
50, 70 years from now, we will have more Godzilla films, right, and whatnot, right? And that is amazing to me, right? But this to me, Minus One felt like a reminder of why that first film mattered, why that first film was so influential. I will confess that I don't love the 54 film. I guess it's
Yeah.
just a
Is that
bias thing.
no, no? The 54 film is up is it's designed for what it is. Like it's not
Yes.
meant to be a fun outing or anything like that. It's like
Oh
no,
no,
it's
no, it is
very clear.
somber EF,
Yeah,
boy.
very
My
clear
God.
social commentary.
Yeah,
That stuff, right? And it's
yeah,
same thing with this. Same thing with this. I thought I was expecting something wilder and more thing, but it was gonna kind of barely do that. I know we get something closer to the original Gojira. It's like, all right, cool.
yes.
It's like I
But
don't hate that. That's fine. Yeah.
right. But what this version does, right? And again, just being biased here, what I think this version does better than the 54 film is bring a sense of adventure, bring a sense of
Yeah.
hope to it, right? And this is why it's perfect reference point for this movie, Jaws, right? So yeah, you
Right.
could
Right.
tell that they are pulling from Steven Spielberg's bag, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's the big gigantic threat that, or I should say, big threat that is scaring the shit out of people, and once you come into it, it's death, right? But now you have these group of humans that are going to stop this thing, and you have this adventurous aspect about it, and it kind of brings a sense of exhilarance to the film itself. So it's not all gloom and doom and look at all the damage and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
right? Yes, it will show you that and it will remind you of how bad things were, especially after World War II in Japan. But at the same time, that's not what the show is about. It's not just about that, right? I love that, right? Um, Let's touch quickly on visual effects though. I thought that they were very, 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 very well done though. And how can I compare this to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, right? It's one of those things where, like, when you like, especially when you see Godzilla itself, right? It's one of those things where, yes, I know what I am seeing here is not real, but it looks so realistic and lifelike that I could buy it, right? That's the thing.
Yep.
So that is where that. So I wouldn't come out and say, dude, these are like the greatest visual effects I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Because I know I'm watching a fictional character, like a big giant lizard do exist, right? Especially one that could go like, n- nuclear in like seconds, right? It's not like that, right? But if you catch what I mean. One moment that really surprised me though was the nuclear test scene. I didn't see that shit coming a mile away. It's just a brief scene with the sort of mushroom cloud explosion. I thought that looked fantastic. Like looks so real, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. Um, and the other stuff as well too, you know what I mean, whether it's you know oh gosh, naval scenes, right? Because yeah, there's numerous scenes involving ships and whatnot trying to take down the beast. Again, going back to Jaws, you know what I mean, you have to try and kill this thing in the ocean. To that moment that I said where Godzilla attacked, well, it was, sorry, saying it now, yeah, where Godzilla attacked this particular city, boy. That was superb in my opinion. I was watching that. Unfortunately, on my laptop, I was like, oh gosh, I wish I could have seen this on that big screen. That was so amazing, right? Sound design was fantastic as well too in those moments and throughout the film as well. Especially when Godzilla comes in, you know what I mean, and he's doing this thing, right? Also, mad props for incorporating the old music, the old Godzilla team, the dun, 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 you know what I mean? The Pheromone Simon Says shit, right? You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
talking
Right.
about,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
And yes, they even draw from the team of the first film that dun, 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 dun,
Right.
dun, 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 right. They play that, but they add some more. They add their own extra set of orchestration to it, which totally works as well, right? So yeah, the score was fantastic. I love how the callbacks to the old film, right? Also, speaking of the old film, if you stick around, if you're curious for the credits, it's not like there's any end credit scene, right? But I'll just spoil it, because more like you probably wouldn't check it out, but I stuck around for it. I was like, all right, I like this, right? They actually do they just call it a remake, right? Of the opening sound effects for when the 54 movie starts, right? That's where you hear like these footsteps, is doom, 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 and then you hear the Godzilla roar. That's how the first film actually started. I was like, okay, I like that. Again, call back to the old film. That was great, right? As I said, Ricardo, yeah, there are characters in this film, human characters that you do care about, right? I do like this kamikaze pilot, and just well, the fear that he has to go through now and what he has to overcome, right? I love that. So, just metaphorically, Godzilla represents the fear that he has to overcome. I love that, right? Giving him pretty much a wife and a daughter, you know what I mean, as, just raising the stakes in terms of what he has to do, totally works as well. Even when Godzilla's doing his thing in that town, though, like I was feeling, just major concern for everybody involved, right? And again, Godzilla is just this asshole boy, just running through this, destroying shit just because, right? So you feel that fear, right? And I won't lie, like genuinely, that is such a tense scene, right? Like let me just say, just a major contrast to like the finale of Godzilla X Kong, where yeah, you know what I mean, these titans doing battle in Rio, but people running, but they're gonna be safe anyway, but people die, but they don't really focus on that. And this one's like, yeah, people die in this, right? The man let out this like nuclear explosion. They're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But it totally works, right? Um, I thought for its runtime as well too. I thought that it was very well paced. The story was very well told and whatnot. Just a lot of emotion, a lot of heart and whatnot. I love that it wasn't like just emphasizing on the depressing, gloomy shit, even though it is there, right? Again, there's a sense of adventure with what's going on as well. And yeah, this totally worked for me, man. It's and just in closing, it's kind of easy to say, oh, this is the best Godzilla movie ever made, right? And even I myself, I will admit I was guilty. I kind of said yes, it was, right? But I am not an expert when it comes to these films, especially the Toho films. I've only seen some, I haven't seen all of them, right? And even like the ones in 2000s, like what, Godzilla 2000s, I haven't even seen Shin Godzilla,
Uh,
believe it or not, right? I
oh,
haven't seen
you
those.
never see Shin Godzilla? Okay, yeah, I kind of
No,
compare it
I
to.
never got the time to see it,
Okay,
unfortunately, right?
wow. Yeah.
So I am not, in other words, I'm not some Godzilla expert. I'm not even a kaiju expert. So I can't come and say kaiju movie expert. So I will not come out and say Minus One is the greatest Godzilla film ever made. You know what I mean? But a lot of people will go in and see this and compare this to the 1, 2 Japanese films or maybe the 98 film and be like, yes, it's the best, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, again, going back to the legacy of Godzilla, it's what you like. If you enjoy Godzilla the asshole, then yeah, this is the best. If you enjoy Godzilla the Titan, who eventually teams up with Kong to save the world, and you like those, right? So it's all a matter of taste, right? But it's the same character that we pretty much know and love, even though he does destroy shit and he don't have to account for it at all, right? But yes, this is a great film nonetheless. It is a great Godzilla movie, but I can't honestly say that it is the best. But in terms of harkening back to the old film and remind us why that first film, why that 1954 film matters, yeah, this show delivers those. So for me, like 4.5 out of 5, man. I absolutely enjoy this. I wish I saw this on big screen. I really wish I saw this before years end. Cause yeah, I would have been so happy, hearing that it won best visual effects. But when it won though, I was really like shocked. I was like, all right, okay. And that kind of made me really like excited to see it. But yeah, we had to wait like forever and a day literally for it to come out, man. But in closing, um again, it's a shame that I did not get to see this theatrically, but because people would have seen it, people would have gone to see
Yep.
it and they would have enjoyed it, man. But so do act as if, oh, people don't want to read subtitles. Like, come on, man, we're not shipping. You know what I mean? Just seeing. But yeah, this is a great film nonetheless, though. But again, if you think it's the best Godzilla film ever made, that's fine. But there's lots of good Godzilla films out there, right? So at the end of the day, it's a matter of taste, right? So it's like that. Yeah, Ricardo, your final thoughts and rating on Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah, even if I didn't see this, sorry, uh, I would have loved this. Even if I saw it last year, and I would have, it probably would have made it still my top 10. Even though I didn't love it as much as people hyped it up to be. I think people overhype it in my head, but I still really liked it a lot. In terms of what it was trying to do, or what it was going for. As it was. Yeah, rating. I give it like a 8 out of 10, pretty high. For me. But what I'll say is that it was just overhyped. But that's more my fault if anything. But what I'll say is that it just comes together so well and would have made my top 10 if I saw it last year, because that was on my list of stuff I didn't see, but I get that sense of it. Yeah, I thought it was kind of brilliant in its own right, and it just comes together in terms of like why, who doing what and why, and just the context of Godzilla. I just look, to me, I'm a force of nature Godzilla guy. Prefer that, right? Don't like Godzilla being friends with people and that kind of thing. No, Godzilla is just Godzilla, fucking things up. but you get the human side of that, like a natural disaster, or well, at the time, the social commentary of the bomb, right? That's it. But yeah, loved it. Didn't love it as much as I thought I would have, but yeah, that's about it.
Right, and before we move into Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, though, there's a question that I brought up with Godzilla X Kong, right? The future of this Japanese version of Godzilla, right? Because it could go in different places, right? As proved with Shin Godzilla, right? I had to remind myself, oh, Shin Godzilla, it's contemporary, because I was asking myself, is this a continuation of this one here? Does Godzilla look the same? I don't think so. You know what I mean? But and it's like that. And even the way how the show ends, minor spoiler, yeah, they hint at a sequel, which I can live with. I totally think that works, right? But yeah, I don't know what the future will be for this Japanese version, because I do like the idea that we have the American ones, we have the MonsterVerse version, and now we have this Toho version that could continue on, for years to come. But I'm really curious to see where this Toho version goes. So I don't think that we'll see another like a follow up to this. Maybe we will. I don't know what decade or whatever it is, or what aspect of Japanese history will be explored with the next film, but I don't think this will be the last film. That's the point again. I don't think this will
Yeah,
be the last Japanese Godzilla film that we
this
will
version,
get,
yeah, okay,
especially with the success that this movie got, and then of course winning a friggin' Oscar. Dread. I mean,
yeah,
like Toho and those companies and whatnot, they can't stop at this. They had to find a way to keep this character going strong, right? Because believe you me, the MonsterVerse will go on until until people just stop giving a shit, right? But yeah,
right.
again, with the legacy of this character here, I'm just really excited and curious to see where it goes, right? So speaking of legacy, now we'll close things off with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, right?
Oh,
And it's so funny that we talked about with Godzilla Minus One, harkening back to the old film, to the first film, sorry. Yeah, Kingdom pretty much is harkening back to the 1968 film, which, by the
right.
way, we did a retrospect review of years ago, and it was fun, like recapping that film. Well, in your case, Ricardo, the old series better than me. I've actually only seen the first film, the '68 film. I haven't seen the others, but I will say after seeing Kingdom, I was like, yeah, I really need to watch those. I really, really need to watch those, right? But yeah, though, with the exception of the 2001 Tim Burton film, which,
Right. Is
we,
one of the worst movies ever in my life. I put it in my top five worst movies for me.
yeah,
Movie is
yeah,
terrible.
yeah, it was though.
Yeah.
And the sniveling apes, just like this,
I'll tell you why I
scenery,
do. You know what? What?
scenery. That's how it's scenery. Who it was who played Tim Roth?
Tim
Just
Roth, right? Yeah.
chewing the scenery, boy. My God, dude. Like I know Tim say, look, act like a ape, but my God,
Yeah.
that man was chewing the scenery of every shot that man
What
was in.
what
I was like,
what what
wow,
shockingly
boy.
what's shockingly frustrating about that, Tim Burton did this twice. The material is closer to the book, to the original book. Like it actually is more faithful to the book, but it's somehow the worst product. And he do it again with Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I don't know
Oh
what it
yeah.
is with Tim Burton. Tim Burton just keep fucking that up somehow, but whatever.
I don't know, like the more like it just like he does like bizarre shit, but he just make it bizarre to the point that it don't make no sense. It's just kind of
Yeah.
dumb. Whatever. But I'm
Yeah.
forgetting that one, right? So yes, there's the old series which I really need to watch.
Yeah.
But as far as the previous trilogy, right? Which was Rise, Dawn, and War.
Yeah.
Absolutely enjoy those. War is my top favorite of that trilogy.
Yeah.
Well, and that and Dawn, of course, was directed by my boy Matt Reeves, right? Who will go on to just impress us even more with the Batman, right?
Right.
So yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, is the start of a new trilogy, which I absolutely I love that idea that we're not gonna just continue on the Caesar story. Like the Caesar story is done, and
Right.
this slight spoiler, I love that Kingdom pretty much tell you you don't even need to go back and rewatch that
Yeah.
previous trilogy. I love that.
They basically they leverage off of Caesar's legacy, but it's not
Yes.
about Caesar. They do a new thing, and they give good reasons as to why and how they do these things.
That's right. But just last point I'll make, and then Ricardo, if you don't mind, you could do the synopsis, right?
Sure.
So I know the fear that a lot of people will have. Me, I was pretty I was optimistic because I love that first trailer, right? But I know a lot of people go into this and be like, but the previous trilogy was great though. Like
It
I
was
don't know,
perfect.
no boy.
Well, that's
Like
perfect
I
for many
don't
people.
know. Yeah, like I don't know. And can tell me a new trilogy, no boy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, boy. So that will be a question that hopefully we will answer. Is it the start of what could be a great trilogy, or should they have just stopped with the last trilogy, right? And I'll stop there. Bia Ricardo, take it away. Kingdom, what's it about?
Right. So, once again, we have to reject modernity and return to Monk. Uh, this time, we continue from the events of the original trilogy. Well, this the Caesar trilogy, as we call it, as you mentioned, Rise, Dawn, and War. We jump. Basically, we're not sure how far in the future, but it feels like about 200 years. I don't know. I
About
don't know.
yeah, like clearly a couple of centuries pass since.
Right. Well, the thing is, the way how it is, it don't feel like too much time passed because at the
Oh,
end,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Without spoiling
right,
without spoiling anything first, I
without
know what you
spoiling
mean. Yeah.
anything, without spoiling
Yeah.
anything. But I thought, it feel like about a couple centuries, a good bit of time passed. So now we follow basically the apes kind of split up in terms of tribes, and we follow Noah. He's
Yes.
part of the what is deemed effectively the eagle tribe.
Yes.
Um, and they just spend time in eagles, and then now what happens here is that another camp who captures them, and basically they have to solve a problem involving a door. That is all you need to know. Noah has now met up with how to get back his tribe. He meets up with a very intelligent ape who knows the true legacy, or at least closest to the true legacy of Caesar, and why that matters. And we meet a human who I forget what her actual name was, but they call her Nova, which is a
All
callback,
right.
another
Her,
callback,
well,
right?
her name is May, but yeah, they
May, right. It keeps slipping my
but they
mind what the
also
real name is.
but they also call her Nova. I'm not gonna say why, but
Right.
it's funny and it harkens back to the old film. It's like, all
It's
right,
a
I like
callback,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do that, and yeah, basically it just they meet they encounter what the kingdom is, and basically the main antagonist is a guy called Proximus Caesar, and
Yes.
he has his aims onto the technology and future and involving the world, because we see him with like basically like stun buttons kind of thing, so he clearly know how to use technology, and he interested in so and so, and then we get like a really good character actor in insertion. All these movies do this really well. They'll get a great actor to come in to play a little side role, and he's great at it, right? Um, I think Dawn had Gary Oldman. He's
Yes,
great.
it did. Yes, I forgot.
Right, right. Rise where's that fella father? The fellow's the old man. Okay, what's his name? Slipping my mind right
Oh,
now.
I forgot to. I haven't seen
Oh
those
God.
shows in a long
Oh
time.
gosh,
So
John Lithgow.
yes.
John Lithgow was in
He
the
was in
first.
that.
He was in that, and then Woody Harrelson in the third one, right? They just
Yes.
they'll bring in one actor who you know very familiar, and they'll have him a great role. And then this time we get William H Macy Dread, and he
Yeah,
was
I
fucking
haven't seen this
great in
dude
this.
in years, but like,
Yeah, no,
what?
but
I
no,
didn't.
he was in a show in on Showtime, which is kind of a brilliant show. Yeah? It's your boy from the Bear who originally come from that show. That's what I remember.
Okay.
Shit, what's his show name, boy? Shameless.
Oh, you
Shameless.
know, I never was on that Shameless hype train, you know, but I know how big of a deal Shameless was. I just never got into
Strong
it.
recommend. I don't super love it, but I
Mm.
have cousins and family members who really love it. But it gets into like again really solid emotional maturity, real dark shit. And it is why people catch it their
Well,
ass.
it's showtime. Of course, it's gonna
Yeah,
be dark
Showtime,
shit,
right?
right?
That's not why people
Yeah,
catch it their ass, but they make
yeah.
it work. They make it real work, and it doesn't too like take. But your boy from the Bear come from that. That's where he come from. Like
Or Jeremy is from that. Or Jeremy White. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, he is great at this, and yeah, they just set up a really good simple story. So in good conscience, I can't say this is as good as it's not as good as the second Caesar film, in my opinion. But I like it more
Right.
than the first and the third, right?
Oh,
And
more than the third. Okay.
oh yeah,
Interesting. Because
I didn't
I love War. I think War is the best because
okay,
it was the final chapter. That's
right.
me. Yeah.
The third I find the third had one big problem in it, and it kind of undermined the movie, not too much, but like a little bit, like in my humble opinion. But this one just was one they more or less perfect the techniques involved with making this work. They perfect
Yes,
it on
buddy.
a technical level, they perfect it on a thematic level, on an approach level. Everything just feel like okay, just do a classical archetypal human story, but put it with the apes and just make sure them apes emote. And everything just comes together so well. I mean, yeah, this is kind of like a little bit of Conan, right? It's kind of Conan the Barbarian, right? It's civilization, but civilization kind of dark and evil. But then you have the more you know
Hey,
connected to
um,
nature stuff. Hello.
Ricardo, I
Yeah.
love the fact that you brought up Conan the Barbarian
Yeah.
because I will get to that in my review, right? But
Yeah.
this hint is the structure of the film. Is the structure
Right.
of the film
Right.
was
Very similar.
harkening back to films like that. So
Right.
I am actually amazed that you brought up Conan the Barbarian, right? But I was
No,
thinking about it. I was actually like legit, no lie, swear to God, I was thinking about that exact show while I was watching
yeah.
this.
No,
Yeah, but yeah,
it's
go
the
on.
same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the whole difference between more closer to modern civilization, but is tend to be framed as evil. But the older, more smaller thing is framed as a good guy. That's as the case of Noah, and you could say Conan to a certain extent. And I don't think about it because it's who have more technology and more science is the bad guys. That I watch Conan enough to know, right? Whatever. But yeah, that's about it. I think this really worked. It came together really well. Action was badass. Special effects great. Yeah, I just kind of really loved this. I didn't expect it. I was expecting to enjoy it because it was looking good, but I didn't think, wait, but am I invested because it's number boy season again? Am I going to be invested in these new protagonists? And I was somewhat invested. I don't like Noah as much as Caesar, but mostly because we don't spend as much time with Noah. But it's all these simple archetypes they make it work, and they bridge it. It feels like a perfect in between bridge of the Caesar trilogy and then the original Planet of the Apes because of course, you have our orangutan who's the smart one, and they make him work. And he kind of steal the movie actually. All I'll just pour 40 out for my boy Raka. That's all we need to do, right? And they have Caesar as the chimpanzee and him as the archetype, and then they have we call him Proximus. What I like about Proximus too is that he's not like a completely flat villain. He has a point. You understand why he is. He's not too simplistic. He's straightforward, but it's not as simple as you think it is, and they make him work. And then the stuff involving May slash Noah comes together really well in terms of like what they do there. As I said, I felt that still didn't when that was revealed. I thought more time passed. I didn't think as much time passed because of what was the reveal there, and it was trying to answer a question that makes a reference to not only Planet of the Apes, the first one, but the second one. I think that is the sequence. That's a big homage to that. And yeah, they make a bunch of little homages, like the little doll squeezing, all them little things now. Remember, they squeeze the doll, and the doll say mama, it's the same doll. That kind of stuff now.
Oh
Or
wow,
the same
okay,
dinosaur.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that was like
I
the,
shouldn't
the
be surprised
yeah,
actually.
in the climax of the original film, when he say, hey, they build technology, a doll that could talk, so and so, right? It's the same doll, same mama doll, same that the yellowed mama, stuff like that. But all these little side characters, and Noah is fleshed out enough that I really like that. He has his parents, and with his friends, and who they come together with, and why that work. And yeah, I just thought this was just really, really excellent. Didn't like it as much as the second Apes film, but I like it more than the first and the third Apes film. It's up there. And you know what I like about this franchise? They don't overstay their welcome, right? They come, do their thing. The technologies be good. It's relatively cheap. It's feel like they make a movie, right? It don't feel like some. Again, I know we dog it on Disney nowadays, but yeah, I know right now Lion King coming out, so that kind of bullshit now. But
That kind of bullshit.
it's just the tech looking amazing. It feel like they make a movie. They tell a good story. Don't overstay their welcome. I hope this make money so they can make more of them. That's it.
Yeah, I absolutely enjoy this as well, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is for me, right? I am not going to go out of my way and say, well, all right. So for me, War is the best of the previous trilogy, right? Because it was the final chapter, right? I feel like because I never did this before, guys. If I would just to sit down and just marathon that previous trilogy, I'd probably agree with you and say that Dawn is better than War, right? Because I just sort of see them in theaters, and usually I'd get back to them years after the fact, right? But I feel like if I just sit down and watch that whole trilogy out, then I'll be like, yeah, Dawn is better than War, right? Point is, I am not gonna go out of my way and say that, the previous trilogy is better than this first film. Because this is obviously the first in a brand new trilogy, right? So one thing do I what I will say though that is that this trilogy is off to a fantastic start though. I absolutely love
But
this one.
are they making a new trilogy at all, or what are they doing with this? Well, I mean, I
That's
assume so.
that. Oh well, that's the plan.
Yeah,
And all right. So I'm not a big Apes fan. Sorry, so I can't
yeah,
say yes, please, another trilogy. But apparently you're doing it. But I
yeah.
think and I think this is a smart choice first and foremost. Why it's harking back to the original 1968 film. They can do their own take on that original trilogy. So
Right.
like so like if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't seen those old films, we never got a prequel in that old film series. Or we never saw the beginning
Not
of why the apes became how they
no.
were, right?
Well, that kind of we kind of get that. Because well, I don't know if it's a big spoiler to say this or if you want to watch these films, but it's it's a time loop. Like Planet of the Apes is a big time loop. So, but
Ew.
because well, here's the thing. Because this might be the first effort in the time loop. So this is the original narrative, but it is a time loop of sorts. That is how you need to know about that. In the original narrative, I don't know if they're doing that. I doubt they'll do that. But what they hinted at in this film is that that location um, is the main the main location or will become the big set piece ending of the second film, right? Involving I forget the other guy's name, Taylor, not Taylor. What's the other guy's name, boy? It was this looking for Taylor, but it's that whole thing now. So it's that. Like I'm not sure what's going on here or what you're gonna do with it as it is.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh
Well, that's really interesting though.
my
So
thing is that you don't need to my thing is that you don't need to overthink it or care about those films. It just tell stories. Just tell
yeah,
stories.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
just tell
exactly.
stories.
It's always about the story and the message. That's the
Exactly. And you
core
don't have to
of those old films anyway.
yeah, you don't have to tie to these characters necessarily even. Like if they just do a big jump in time again and say, okay, there's another set of characters, Noah dead, however long or blah blah blah. Same thing. Like I don't really mind that because they just tell a story and just make it work with the technology. And they just tell a nice archetypical story. That's it. So that's
Right.
it.
Okay. Well, totally understood, right? But yeah, so I kind of see this as like the trilogy that will be very much like those old films that I well, with the exception of the first one that I have to see for myself, right? So yeah, it's clear that we're gonna get this is gonna be a brand new trilogy. I think that makes perfect sense. But yeah, this is off to a fantastic start, right? So for one thing, the story I thought it was very very well written, right? Going back to Conan the Barbarian, right? So this is the reason why I was thinking about that show. It has this purposeful, like it has, let me just say for lack of a better term, it has this old school approach to the storytelling where we are introduced to the main character. The main character is, enjoying life and whatnot, and then something really traumatic and tragic happens and whatnot, like somebody attacks his home pretty much as what happens. And the quest begins where he has to go and find something, right? And then on the way there, something happens, and then that's when our villain is introduced to his story, right? So it has that sort of like old school kind of style to things where like because I look at a few reviews of it, and some people are saying, oh, it kind of takes a while for the story to kick in. I was like, that I could understand that criticism, but it's more like setting up the world, right? It's kind of introducing us introducing us right into this world. So no, we're not gonna see Proximus just yet out of the blue or in the first act. You had to wait. And then when he comes in, it's like, oh, okay, now we're here. So again, I can imagine some people saying, okay, the story picks up when Proximus comes in. I was like, no, well, for me, I think the story, it just takes its time, right? But I can understand why people feel that way because this is a pretty lengthy film. This is clocking in
That's
at
sometimes.
almost 2.5 hours, right?
I didn't feel the time, to be honest.
Same here too. Same here too. I didn't feel like it dragged or whatnot. Like I felt like every scene that was there needed to be there. There was no fat in it, despite the
Yeah,
runtime and
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
But again, I can imagine some people saying, "All right, well, get to the villain. Tell me what's going on, what you had to do, and you know what I mean." But if it just, but I was just so invested in the story. I was like, "All right, I'll just let the show breathe, let do its thing." And yeah, I was totally satisfied with how things played out. Right. I like how character-wise, how layered it is, how complex it is, right? Especially with the characters of Noah and Nova, right? Their motivations, and this to me is like the theme that I picked up from it, right? And it's perfect that it kind of bounces from the previous trilogy, the Caesar trilogy, right? Yeah, Caesar is dead, and but now his teachings have pretty much been kind of used by the apes.
Well, here's the thing: it's either outright forgotten and or corrupted. right? Because
Right.
we see it as far as we know, at least the way the story tells it. Yeah, Raka is the only person who like has the
Yeah, who
proper
really remembers
interpretation.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But then, right, but then you have like Proxima Caesar, right? For all we know, he might probably just be calling himself Caesar just by name, And
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah,
how he is framed, like like, and again, it's a good thing in bring up Conan Barbarian because I was picking up on some Tulsa Doom vibes from him, right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
worship me and do what I say and shit, blah blah blah, and he being all not so much theatrical, but all like trust in me and do everything I say, and I will lead you to paradise. That
Yeah.
was what James Earl Jones's character in that film was. By the way, I love that first Conan Barbarian film. That's one of my all time favorite films, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny that we were both thinking about that same show while I was watching this, right? But yeah, here this whole idea with taking well one of the big lines from the original trilogy, apes together, or apes strong, I think it was, right?
Corrupting it. Yeah,
Right, and corrupting it. Like yes,
smart
do
call.
what I say, apes together. And when you see how that plays, it's like, wow, boy, Proximus,
Yeah.
I get your asshole, like I get it, but I understand the
It's
logic in it at the same time too.
Yeah, he's a televangelist, right? It's
Exactly, like just
right,
do what I say, please. You know what I
right.
mean? Blah, and all that kind of stuff. And he like just stand up watching people Eeps do anything for him, right? But it's like that, right? But what he wants to and why he wants it, that's what makes sense to me. Because yeah, he
Yeah,
could have just been yeah, I'm just like oh gosh, like I'm playing God and all of this, you know what I mean? And I love that, just going back to the title, yeah, he is the king in this kingdom. Like he even though these people are like slaves and followers and whatnot, he has a literal kingdom that he is running here, right? But yeah, what he wants,
yeah.
makes
He
a lot of sense of why
effectively,
he wants it. I love that.
the guy, yeah, he effectively doing statecraft, right? Again, much like with Tulsa, right? He doing statecraft. Society had to get bigger and more powerful, and here's why. That
Yes.
kind of stuff, right? It's potentially insidious because it requires a lot of dead people for that to exist. You talk
Like,
about human history itself, right? That kind of stuff. They make it
yeah.
work.
Even though there's not much humans in it though, I was really impressed by, well, not just Nova, but yeah, oh gosh, William H. Macy, who
Yeah,
I didn't see coming a mile away, right?
at all. Yeah, I
And
didn't expect that at all.
I like where how he's framed in all of this, how opportunistic he is, so to speak,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
he exists in a world like this, right? I didn't expect he would have stayed as long as he did. Like I thought he would have been there longer, but he isn't. I don't want to spoil how
right,
it
right, right,
happens,
right.
but
Yeah, what to do with him? Yeah,
that
it's
actually
great.
catch me by surprise. Like I
Right,
thought
right,
that
for real.
he would have come back, but like nope, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
But I don't want to spoil anything beyond that, right? But then when it
yeah,
comes to Nova, she really surprised me too, right? Just
yeah.
with her character motivations, right? So the team, what I picked up from it too, right, is just really in this world, right, where yes, what happened in the Caesar trilogy happened, right? But here we are in a world where apes where humans are subservient and apes are dominant, right? But can apes and humans
Yeah.
really
That
realistically
sequence, that
coexist
sequence is
in
straight,
this world? I
that
love that.
sequence is yeah, that sequence is straight off from the first film, eh? That sequence,
Yeah,
yeah, straight from,
I remember it
yeah,
vaguely, but I was like, yes, I know,
straight from,
I remember it.
and the
Yeah,
music they use it, the music they use as well, like that drums, da da dung dung,
yes,
that's the
which
old
is
yeah, classic,
yeah.
yeah,
On the subject of that, points to John Pisano, if I got the name wrong, forgive me, right? Man was pulling from Jerry Goldsmith's score from the
right
first
true,
film. I was like,
yeah,
what?
right true,
Because you
yeah,
hear any drums, I was like, all right, yeah. Especially with the apes on horseback attacking the
yeah,
humans, which was an iconic scene for me from the
yeah,
first film. I was surprised at how like just genuinely shocking that movie was, and that 16 movie was rated G. I watched like. Oh, so
yeah,
it's like some like R-rated shit, but like
that is
Jesus.
wild, yeah,
Well, it was wild, not as wild as not as R-rated as a C, but it is pretty shocking for a movie like that, right? But yeah, I was hearing them drums like you know what I mean,
yeah,
Jerry Goldsmith shit, like I like that, right? But yeah, but I just love that idea, just framing Noah and Nova, just like yeah, just kind of pondering, can we really exist, right? So I just love how the film plays on these themes, right? And especially when Proximus comes into the picture, it's like, all right, I could work with this human a little bit. He could teach me this. He could help me out here. But then after that, I'll bust his throat because if I don't bust his throat, he could come and bust mine, you know what I mean? Or if he finds something, what if he kill me? And is that thing there. So they always on edge now. And I like that especially with Noah being from this relatively peaceful tribe, and he's pulled out of it because of what he's heard about humans for years now. And then just being in the trust of it, right? Just having to work with a human in name of Nova, having to trust her, but then being told, don't trust these humans, and then
Right.
things ensue. That's all I'll say, right?
Right.
So I love how the film just sort of asks these questions, but it leaves no answers. It
No, they
doesn't
balance it.
answer them for you.
They balance it well. Like they balance
Yeah.
because they keep that keeps the drama and the anxiety working. For what it was. Like they know what they was doing with this man. Like they cook here. They cook. Let admit that. And
They were cooking.
Yeah, after I give my rating and take, but that's like the big thing that stick out for me with this is like just in the back of my head, I was like, all right, this dude gonna do Zelda.
Oh,
good.
right. Yes. West Ball. Yes.
Yeah. So like, all right, if I just want to see how this is, if he could pull this off, this was the kind of the canary test for me. I don't know this guy's like over exactly. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be the quick test. I'll probably just dig him up and say, all right, he do this, he do that.
That's the thing. As I was about to say, I'm not familiar with his work either, because what he's known for, I guess, known, right, is the Maze Runner films. I have always avoided those films because I just because of Hunger Games. I was like, all right, another YA dystopian story. Like
I remember
just never
one of them being okay-ish, but it's still
and the second one was the best, I think. I don't know. I just
I think so, but like I never watched the whole franchise to compare them or anything like that. But like my attitude was, I remember watching one of them. It's like, well, it's not as good as Hunger Games, and Hunger Games already kind of mediocre, but it's not that bad as a starting off. But all right, okay, so this is what you're known for. All right, okay, so it's him.
Yeah, and I guess knowing that he will do the Zelda film very soon, hopefully, I'll watch the Maze Runner films. I ain't saying I'm gonna love them, but I'll watch them, right?
Yeah,
and also, I mean direction. Like he did his damn job in this too. Just some gorgeous shots too. And I might as well close this too. For your consideration, best visual effects for next year's, because this is some of the best visual effects I've seen, not just all year, but for an Apes film, for a modern contemporary Apes film. This is some of the best stuff I've seen. So photorealistic, boy. My God, like when you see Noah, especially when you see Raka, boy, who is the MVP and all this, boy. It's like, God damn, it looks so real though. Even as exaggerated as Proximus was as a character, he and all look real. It'll be like this.
I think he was the voice actor for that boy. What's his name, boy?
Kevin Durant is
right. Yeah. He's like the only kind of known voice there.
OG. He OG. But I was surprised to see his name in it as well too, right? But visually this looks amazing, dude. And I think this is why this me speculating why this franchise continues on though, so they could really exploit the technology, and I should say not exploit, but really improve on it, really get to a point where yes, you could believe that these apes can talk and move about the way they do, you know what I mean? And ride horses, of course, right? So it's like that.
That's the one thing that stick with me too. They actually like pull off the horse riding part the best in this. Cause like it's time to this kind of stuff. Usually the usual nitpickers, including myself, will say, well, gorillas too heavy for horses or so and so. But this time I didn't think of that or question it. Like it's like, oh, they really could, like you really get the sense you could ride horses too. But
yeah.
That's something like that may make work, yeah.
Right, and before we get to it, right, and I love where it ends as well too. Kind of ambiguous as well too, but more in the sense of, okay, yes, folks, we're gonna continue the story, right? But when they stop off though, yes, I'm genuinely excited, right? Because again, it just goes back to the whole idea of can apes and humans coexist together? But what what's being speculated here is like, wow, like, okay, so in a nutshell, what I love about this show here in general is where each main character kind of realizes through these encounters and all these experiences that there is a bigger world outside of where they live in or where they see themselves in, right? The world is a lot bigger than where they are right now. So you see it with Noah and him being forced out of his home because of reasons, right? May and what's going on with her, right? So it's a bigger world. But what they're hinting at now here is like, yeah, it's you don't even think about this planet. It's bigger than that. That's what I'll say. Don't spoil anything, and that just opens up
I don't think it's any bigger than that, to be honest. Because
okay.
with the final communication, what they mentioned a certain name now. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know that I was going there, but that was about it. So they leave it at
Right,
that.
right,
So
right.
that's about it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I've seen this too, trying to be vague with it, guys, is a object that is seen and used a few times in the film,
Right,
and what that means. So
right,
again, that's how I see it, just the idea that yeah, this world is much bigger than they actually think. And I love that. So it's world building, but on this really like thematic level, so to speak, right? But yeah, absolutely enjoy this. What the year's best films. I am excited for the follow up for this though, and yeah, I think that this new trilogy will be just as, if not better, than what we got before here, man. And yeah, I mean, here's to 20th Century Studios for keeping this franchise going strong, and then in general, not just quitting because the 2001 with Mark Wahlberg fall flat, right? I'm glad that somebody was like, no, we should really like revive this series because the original series had so much to say about life and the world back then, right? Especially with nuclear war and all that kind of stuff. But here in this new time now, we could touch on new things like look, it's to the point that it's a virus that caused all this stuff, right? So it's kind of funny that coming out of, in quotes, a COVID, yeah, we have this
right.
this new trilogy, right? So think about that for a sec. But yeah, rating wise for me, like to decent 4.5 out of 5. 1 year's best films. Would I have enjoyed this in IMAX? I guess so. You know what I mean? Because yeah, visually
Probably,
it
yeah.
was just spectacular. And yeah, I do see myself seeing this again, theatrically though. And yes, theatrically it is definitely worth seeing on the big screen, man. It is absolutely worth your money and your time and whatnot, right? Um, and again, I'm just excited to see, yeah, where this trilogy goes next, man. But I feel like if I go back to the old series, I could kind of figure it out, like, oh, okay, I feel they're gonna do this and go do the story arc from this show and whatnot. I feel like you had to go to the old films to get an idea of where this one is gonna follow through. But I guess you'll see. Yeah, Ricardo, your final thoughts are written.
I thought this was just excellently produced, excellently executed, and it just really worked as a simple, relatively simple story, but they make it work and keep enough spinning plates to have you, keep your attention, have you interested. Like I don't think it's as strong as the Caesar trilogy, but then again, that is a whole trilogy of movies, But I still really dug the hell out of it. Rating, yeah, give us a real high 8 out of 10. Yeah, right now it is probably in a contender, one of the best of the year. Yeah, them apes are back. Them apes.
Yeah, man, them apes again, man. So yeah, again, definitely check this out in theaters. It is a real deal.